Now, a quest for justice. After 22 years in exile, a former African president is in jail tonight. We turn to our reporter at large, Ndimyake Mwakalyelye, for details. Ndimi?
Thank you, Vincent. Well, Chad's ex-leader, Hissene Habre, was brought before a court in the Senegalese capital, Dakar, today to face charges of crimes against humanity and war crimes and crimes of torture. Habre, now 71 years old, led Chad from 1982 to 1990 when he was overthrown in a coup. He has been living in exile in Senegal for the past 22 years, prompting many questions as to why the country has waited this long to prosecute him. Now, for more details, we are joined via Skype, or I think by phone, from Dakar by VOA's Anne Look. Hi, Anne. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So it turns out that Chadians first launched this application or charges against Habre back in 2001. Belgium also made an attempt in 2005, and only now, 2013, things actually seem to be moving. What can you tell us about what has taken so long?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say that I'm just standing outside the Extraordinary African Chambers, where just a few minutes ago, Hissene Habre was whisked out off to Dakar Central Prison, where a judge has now ordered him to remain during pretrial investigations that sources say could last as long as 15 months before this trial gets underway. What happened today was that the prosecutor presented these charges of crimes against humanity, war crimes, and torture. They were accepted by the judge, meaning that the process will continue moving forward. Now, as to why this took so long, I think there was a bit of tug of war over jurisdiction. There were also some political issues in Senegal under the previous government of Abdoulaye Wade. There were questions of political will. Some said that Hissene Habre had used his money to kind of construct a web to protect himself here. There were also issues over funding. The previous Senegalese government had said they were willing to foot the international community to foot an enormous bill, something like $35 million to try him. That cost has been reduced. That international funding is in place. And in February, these Extraordinary African Chambers were opened in Senegal.
Now, Anne, can you go a little deeper into what exactly the charges he's facing are?
Yeah, the chief prosecutor yesterday told reporters that these three charges reflect investigations that have been done by prosecutors since the court opened in February. Now, what they're really seeking to show is not just that these atrocities happened during Habre's time in power, but also that Habre was directly knowledgeable of them, that he played a direct role in them. They say that they recovered, for example, files of his secret police that show that Hissene Habre not only created the secret police, the secret political police, he chose the agents, he received regular written reports from them, he responded to these reports, he gave instructions. So really, to go a little bit further and establish that link directly between Hissene Habre and the activities that were happening in the country.
Now, about 40,000 people died during his watch. I'm imagining the jubilation in Dakar and in, of course, Chad, the country originally where the charges are originating from. There must be just jubilation.
Yeah, the response from victims and victims advocates is just finally. This trial has been, 2 decades in the making for them. Many of the victims have died. Keep in mind, he's accused of of horrific abuses, of arbitrary detentions, summary executions, widespread torture. I've personally spoken to victims. There's one Senegalese citizen who was imprisoned under Habre for 6 months who described just horrific conditions of detention.
And look, thank you so much for joining us from Dakar.